State lawmakers in Pierre have helped increase education funding by 6 and 7% the last couple of years in an effort to help boost teacher pay.
But like with every other industry, inflation is taking its toll. Cooper Seamer joins us at 5 to explain more. Hey, Cooper.
Yeah, Brian and Andrea, as first reported by South Dakota Searchlight, teacher compensation in South Dakota has grown, but it hasn't kept up with inflation. Statewide education groups expect that to be a big hurdle when trying to get funding increases out of lawmakers this upcoming legislative session. The past two legislative sessions in Pierre have seen big increases in state education funding, well above the state law mandated 3% or less.
We were very fortunate the last couple of legislative sessions that there was some monies to be handed out, in 6 and 7% increases. That's enormous to anyone, especially educators.
But although teachers in South Dakota overall have seen an increase in their salaries as well as their benefits, they have less purchasing power now than 6 years ago. The average teacher's salary in the state has increased by about $6,000 since 2017, and total compensation has grown by about $8,000. Inflation, though, has outpaced that, a factor that's affected everything in state funding.
Education's not the only industry dealing with that. Inflation has certainly outpaced earnings, particularly in the last 2 or 3 years. It's been pretty aggressive.
As the state continues to try and climb out from near the bottom nationwide in teacher salaries, that continuing effect of inflation makes it tough to compete, especially when those funding increases every year have to cover not just salaries, but the cost of everything else that a district incurs.
We're really at the whim of the monies that come from the legislature. And I do believe most schools are doing everything they can to put every dollar they receive into the hands of the people that need it.
But there is some hope that those fears will be taken into account by the state legislature as the final report from the Teacher Compensation Review Board calls out inflation specifically.
I am pleased to see that in the Teacher Compensation Review Report that committee did see fit to call out inflation as a factor that needs to be monitored when determining teacher salaries.
Those education groups say they're going to be following Governor Noem's budget address tomorrow closely, as often it's the first indication of how much interest there is in continuing to increase education funding. While they expect that this year's increase will be smaller than the previous 2 years, they're still hopeful for more help.